What's up, Janelle?
Hey, Bronte.
How's it going?
It's going.
Here we are again with your Black ads.
Yeah,
We
episode
haven't
11.
episode 11. We haven't been able to actually record a episode together. We've been doing this kind of virtually with this whole COVID. I'm tired of saying COVID, but this is the name of the game right now. And much like we be telling brands like, oh, they got to be innovative, they got to figure it out, they got to be creative. I think we kind of taken a dose of that medicine ourselves and kind of trying to figure it out.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, we started trying to kind of record the podcast as we normally would.
Right.
Then TE gave us the awesome opportunity to go live on Instagram on their platform, which worked out really well. And now we are moving yet again to Instagram TV, IGTV. So you can still catch us over there at the Team Epiphany, on the Team Epiphany Instagram account. But we will still be incorporating video. And that will live on IGTV. So I don't have to be in the seat at 8 o'clock on Monday nights anymore. We can do this whenever the two of us are available.
Right.
And we'll also be going to twice a month.
Yes. So every other week we will be posting content, the IG videos.
Exactly.
So here we are. I am going to miss kind of like that live interaction with the audience. That's the only part. But I think this lives better, and also we can be a little bit more creative with how we put out the content. So I'm sure this will continue to evolve over time, which I'm excited to see what it becomes. But here's to our first IG TV situation.
Cheers.
What are you drinking, first of all?
Well, as you can see, I'm already halfway done with, I meant to refill. This is some blended kiwi with lime and tequila.
Oh, nice. I just have Appleton and cranberry. Cheers.
That works. Cheers.
All right. So let's get to it.
All right.
Above the fold. What we got this week?
So for Above the Fold, first item on the agenda, your fave, our fave, Serena Williams has been named the global spokesperson for Stuart Weitzman.
I love it. I love this for multiple reasons. One of the reasons why Serena Williams is my favorite, obviously, is on the tennis court. But outside of that, she continues to be a boss lady. And that is so inspiring. Like, it's nonstop. So obviously, the biggest thing is her partnership with Nike. But the endorsements that she gets off the strength of her tennis, I mean, obviously that's how it normally is with these sports persons that are in sports, that kind of like that reach goes way beyond the sport. But I just love seeing a headline that says Serena Williams is doing this. Serena Williams is partnering with this. But tell me a little bit more about this.
I mean, we can start and stop at just the campaign images.
Yes, the images were amazing. Amazing. And I also saw that she had wore that brand in the Sports Illustrated cover in 2015. So it's kind of like
when she was pregnant?
No, 2015. She was on the cover of
How old is that baby? Yeah, I guess that baby's not that old.
No, that was 2017 when the baby was born. 18.
Okay.
I don't know. Anyway, I just thought it was a full circle moment. But yeah.
But I mean, that's generally how those sponsorships play out. Usually a brand reaches out because they know that you're a fan of the brand, and therefore it's a good synergy, not because I've never heard of this brand, I would never wear this in my personal life.
Right.
So yeah, I mean, and I think that a lot of times these artists and these athletes kind of do position themselves that way on purpose. They know that there's a brand that they like, so they constantly kind of call that out, wear that product or use that product in the hopes to one day collab.
Yeah. So global global spokeswoman for Stuart Weitzman. I think it's amazing. So I think they're together, partnering for philanthropy work.
I believe so. You know what? To be completely honest, I stopped at the picture and the headline. Not
Yeah,
gonna hold you.
so there's more to it. I think they're using both of their platforms to advance women of color at work. So it's a whole story to it. But
Yeah,
I think the fact that they use Serena, obviously she's a black woman, she's a boss lady, kind of like as the face of it, was a smart move. And I think, I follow her on Instagram. So I think every month they're going to highlight two women of color and kind of like perpetuate them even further forward with what they're doing in their own individual businesses.
that's amazing.
So I'm all the way here for that.
I put that at the top of the list because I knew that would be your fave headline of the week.
You know it is. Listen, I have literally probably sat here and watched every single Serena Williams tennis match from the start of her career, all of them that's been on YouTube. They've been uploading new ones from back in the day. So Tennis Channel,
I mean,
obviously, they don't have no content to put out. So they've been replaying
yeah.
old matches. So I've been getting all my doses of Serena.
Yeah, I mean, I guess that's all the sports world can really do. It's funny because the other day I called my grandfather and he was like, "Oh, I got to get off the phone. Like the Heat are about to play." And I'm like, "No,
No?
they're not." And it was like an old game, but he's treating like these old basketball and football games like they're actually
Oh,
airing in real time. And I'm like,
got you.
I mean, I guess if you're that big of a sports fan, that's all you got these days.
It is.
Yeah.
Although tennis did start doing some weird, yeah. That's all you got, pretty much.
All right. So next item on the agenda is it's around the A Life hoodie that came out for the Ahmaud Arbery, kind of in support of him. It was a gray hoodie that had his name across the front. Um, and it kind of sparked a conversation with some friends around brands, the line of support versus what's the word I'm looking for? Support versus like trying to capitalize on a situation. I think
Yeah,
in the case of this A Life hoodie, they did mention that all the proceeds were like going to his family, but people still weren't really feeling it. Some people in the comments were still like, "Oh, well, then just donate money." But if a brand doesn't have that kind of cash in the bank, they got to make the money first before they can donate it. So then, like,
right.
there's this very, very fine line that these brands walk. And I just want to have a conversation around, like, have you ever seen a case where like a brand was getting pushback unjustly, even though you think like their heart was in the right place, versus brands that like tried to jump onto a wave, and latch onto a tragedy, and you felt like it was very opportunistic?
Yeah, I'm sure that that has happened. In this case, I think there's a duality to a lot of this. Like you said, it's a thin line. I think in this case, I think for businesses, even if you are further perpetuating like a good cause and things like that, still it's that bottom line that matters at the end of the day. So like I want to get mine. If it don't make money, it doesn't make sense type of
Mm-hmm.
thing. So
But I mean,
I think
I
there
feel
is
that way. Sorry. I feel that way for like bigger brands and stuff, but like, what do you feel about these smaller brands that like move a bit, more independent and don't have these like stakeholders necessarily to kind of
yeah,
um, have to appease and stuff like that. Like, I feel like they can move a bit more genuinely, and therefore, like when they get behind a cause, like there's a lot of brands out there that not necessarily um, a cause as I would say as kind of like touchy as
hmm,
this one was. And when you talk about like the Black Lives Matter movement and things like that, but there
right.
are brands out there that get behind like conservation causes and things like that. Like what and I feel like they are very authentic and genuine in their support. At least the smaller brands is that like you didn't necessarily have to do this.
Yeah, I think it does come across more genuine from smaller brands, but I think the power and the ability because they have the cash in the reserve for bigger brands, is like, oh, we're going to do this. I think we're amplifying the cause.
Yeah.
I don't say I like it. I like the idea of it, especially when it's like all the proceeds are going to the family, or this is what we're doing with the money when you purchase this. I like that, and it's a duality to it. I think you can do both. I think you can capitalize, whether that's brand awareness. You can capitalize also on what you bring in as from a revenue perspective too, while still continuing to amplify the cause. So I'm not mad
Yep.
at it.
Same. Next up, we have an acquisition this week. So,
Acquisition.
yeah, Facebook bought, how do you pronounce it? Giphy?
Listen, however
That's,
it resonates best with you, Giphy or
every time I
Giphy.
see that word, I'm like, GIF, I don't know. We're going
They
with
say
Giphy.
that I don't know what it is. GIF,
Whatever.
GIF.
Yeah.
GIF.
It's GIF.
But then,
I
like,
always
they
said
really named
GIF.
their company
I always said
after
right,
peanut butter company? Nah.
right. I
But
always
either
said
way,
GIF, but I started saying GIF. It don't matter. Let's talk about the story.
so Facebook has purchased Giphy, and they are going to roll this out. It's to be an Instagram kind of integration. How are you feeling about this?
I love it. You should know I love it. But
Of course
it
you
makes
do.
sense. I'm going to tell you why it makes sense. Just because both of these companies, Facebook as a Facebook company, not Facebook as a platform, but Facebook across all of its family of apps, and Giphy are both products that earn their money or get their money from the advertising space. So much like Facebook is free, Instagram is free, WhatsApp is free, the way that they earn their money is by advertisers advertising on the platform. Same with Giphy. So if you go and search a GIF for Laughing Cow, you'll get a Chick-fil-A advertisement, and that's paying to keep the platform running, those different types of instances. I think this is game changer for Facebook to integrate something that they already are doing, and being able to use the GIF in the Instagram platform, also obviously in the Facebook platform. And it's just going to add to the overall ecosystem of how they can further continue to use ads to build revenue and do great work in the world.
Yeah. When I think about like the platforms where GIFs are kind of like used the most, obviously, I think of Instagram when you think of stories,
Mhm.
and Twitter. So what does this mean for Twitter? Like everything on Twitter is a video or a GIF. Most
I
of the
mean,
GIFs come from Giphy. So like, what do they do
right.
now?
So this is why it's a power move for Facebook, because even the other places that GIFs are used, Facebook now has a leg up because they're able to enter into that space where they're not even necessarily integrated into that platform. Still, they're going to be able to use GIF ads are going to be able to pop up when people are on Twitter and they're searching for a GIF to post to Twitter. So the revenue stream actually branches out far beyond the family of apps that Facebook has. So I think it's an amazing move. I don't know what the implications are, what it's going to look like, but if it's as straightforward as I think it is, I think it's a great thing for Facebook. Not necessarily.
And
I don't think Twitter loses anything because it's still going to operate the same way it's been operating. It's just that Facebook is a beneficiary rather than Giphy as its own independent brand.
yeah, and Facebook purchased them for $400 million.
400
That's kind of
mil,
wild.
which I feel is
Four
like
hundred mil.
a drop in the bucket. It's crazy how these tech companies just be like, all right, let's acquire this, let's acquire that.
Yeah.
Like, wow. But I think it's a huge investment, which they've done this several times in the past, which has done them great so far. So let's see how this turns out.
Yeah. Moving right along, we have an announcement by Ethos Club that they kind of built this new parent company called
Mm-hmm.
Somewhere Good. And also, I think it's a film and art platform called Form No Form. Um, I really, when I saw this, it really kind of showed the founders' long-term goals and like, setting up something that lives outside of a physical space, right? So Ethos
Right.
Club is a physical space right now, a physical space that people can't really utilize. And thinking about how brands and how people are having to shift from 100% like IRL experiences to
Mm-hmm.
branching out and just like making sure that they're covered on all fronts. So when all of this started at those club, they announced a digital subscription or a digital membership. And it's good to see that, this kind of setback with not being able to invite people into the physical space didn't hinder like the broader vision.
Yeah, I didn't realize that Ethos Club. I think it was. I think it's a good move. Like to your point, I think it was wise how they already had a sub brand, or they had a brand,
Mm-hmm.
which is Ethos Club, which is like a community space. And then in a time like this, you think like, okay, how can we broaden our scope? And rather than broadening the scope from Ethos Club as a
Right.
communal space, they actually did it in reverse and said, okay, how about Ethos Club is a sub brand of this bigger picture? So I like the
Exactly.
idea of how they approached it. Um, I think that was innovative.
Yeah. So excited to see what comes of that, what other brands they launch under Somewhere Good, and what happens with Form No Form, the new platform that they launch along with it. So yeah.
Yeah, I'm excited to see that too. I think that Ethos Club, aren't they fairly new?
Yeah, I think they might have launched like mid to late last year.
Yeah, so they're fairly new. I hope that this move, like, kind of, amid this crisis, I hope it kind of like helps them continue to broaden their scope and move forward. So we'll see.
You want to jump into the next topic?
I do. So I'm not sure if you're familiar with Joyner Lucas. He kind of like put out that.
Heard his name.
Have you heard? Did you hear the song? Will? Did you see the
No,
video?
no.
You stress me out sometimes, Janelle. Like,
Why?
how
Why
have
would
you
I? Why
not
would I?
seen
Why?
this video?
Because when it popped up on my Twitter feed, I kept scrolling.
Okay.
Like, I saw Will Smith was rapping, and I kept scrolling. Like, why would I stop?
So that was the original song, the original, and you thought
Hmm.
the character Joyner Lucas that was playing Will, you said you saw Will Smith rapping and then you cut it.
No, I'm talking about like the news that like
The
dropped.
remix.
Yes,
Yeah,
yeah.
so anyway, Joyner Lucas put out a song, an original song called Will, basically talking about how Will Smith has inspired him, starting from the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, and then he did all of these colloquialisms across all of his characters, or many of the characters that Will Smith has played. I thought it
Mm-hmm.
was genius. I loved what he did from taking the stories and kind of like playing on words. It was a really, really good song. So fast forward, I think this was probably like 2 or 3 months ago. Fast forward till last week, early last week, or the week before, a remix comes out, and Will Smith has hopped on the remix, and I thought it was very good. Will Smith was like, "I want y'all to know, although I'm not in the music industry or in the game anymore, I want you to know that I still have these bars, and I'm going to give them to you just to remind you."
Okay.
So I would like for you to check that out.
Not making any promises.
Why? Why do you have to be like that?
Because, like, number one, I'm not a Joyner Lucas fan to begin with. Like, I don't have anything against the guy. I just never really was interested in clicking play. Love Will Smith, not interested in his rapping whatsoever. So then you put an artist I'm not interested in with an artist I'm not interested in hearing, and then like I can save that time.
how does one become interested in an artist if you never listen to them or give them an opportunity to tickle your little eardrums?
I mean, I'm not going to be able to listen to every single artist on the face of the earth and have an opinion. So, like, you're going to have to skip some, you
Cool.
know?
Well,
Maybe I'll check it out just
I
because you
suggest
said
it.
something, but now the bar is like up here, and something
No,
tells me it doesn't. Something tells me it's not going to meet that bar. But hey,
it shouldn't be that high. I just thought it was a
okay,
cool song. I thought it was something that was great that broke up what's the musical content we've been getting that's usual, that's normal, that's common. So that's the reason I liked it and the reason why I'm highlighting it here.
okay. Like I
So
said,
bring that bar down a little bit so that you can kind of approach
right
it
here.
with a whatever, Janelle. Moving on. So the new Gerber Baby is a little black girl. She's so precious.
So
Um,
cute.
and she's the first Gerber Baby that I think is adopted.
It's
So
adopted. Yeah.
Gerber does this really good thing, nice thing, I think, where they have they take submissions. You can go right on the Gerber website, submit your baby, and then they go through the submissions and they go through a process of, I guess, rounds.
Mm-hmm.
And then they select the baby that's going to be the next Gerber Baby for the next phase of promotion and advertisement. So I don't think this is the
Is it
first.
like a set time? A set time limit that they're.
Yeah, it is a
Okay.
set time limit. Because I guess they can't have like a 4-year-old talking about this sticker.
Yeah, I guess. Like, yeah, I'm a
Baby.
14-year-old Gerber baby.
Right. So I think there are age requirements, and then it only scales out for a certain period of time before they go cycle and find the next one.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't think this is the first baby of color, but this is the first adopted baby. But I do love that it's
And why did they
a
make
black baby.
Yeah, I did too. But why did they make a big deal about the baby being adopted? Like, what do the parents of the baby have to do with? Why does that make this newsworthy?
Yeah, I'm not sure why that is a thing.
Yeah, when I saw it, I was like,
I couldn't
okay.
tell you.
It,
Like,
it felt
why?
like one of those. It felt like one of those like fake sports stats where it's just like, oh, this is the first game where he wore those shoes that he scored 24 points in the third quarter, and it's like,
It's a reach. Like,
okay,
you're
yeah.
clearly reaching. I don't know why that was a topic of discussion. I
I
was
felt,
more
you
concerned
know
that
what
it
it
was a
is.
black baby than anything.
You know what it is? They were sitting around the table. They were, the marketing team, and they were like, damn, we got to PR this. What's our angle? And they
Right.
wrote down all the angles on the sheet of paper, and that was at the top of the
Yo,
list.
you know what? You know what? She's adopted. Okay, let's go
Oh,
with that.
write it up, send it out.
Yeah.
That's how that happened.
Yeah. I'm just more highlighting because it's a
Yeah.
little black baby girl.
And
She's so
she's so
precious and
cute.
adorable. I think her name is Magnolia Earl.
Oh, Magnolia.
Yeah. All right, so moving along, Love Renaissance, which is a music label. They recently launched a mental health portion of their label to help their artists navigate the mental health space. Summer Walker is signed to them, so I think this spurred
Yes.
from
I'm
her and kind of like
positive that's where it came from.
her battling depression and anxiety in the space. Like when she was going on her live shows, we heard all that was going on with that. So the label actually listened, they were aware, and now they are doing something about it. I think that's super commendable. I'm not
Yeah, I
sure
mean,
they're still in the very early stages of it, but the fact that they're launching a mental health division is good
yeah,
stuff.
definitely. And I think you kind of taking a step back, like Love Renaissance. I've kind of been a fan of them for a long time because just because of their kind of marketing efforts.
Hmm.
So Summer Walker is signed to them. Black is signed to them. I think Boogie is as well,
Yep.
the rapper out of California. But the team over there, they're all young. I think they're all from Atlanta. If they're not from, they're all based there now. And reading the article, it sounds like the woman that they brought on had talked to like a whole bunch of labels that she was trying to kind of, pitch this mental health division to. And LVRN was the only one that bit. But, to your point, having Summer Walker on the roster and knowing all that she's gone through, I know it's kind of became like internet fodder, which is unfortunate because
Right.
she clearly, like, if you watch any of her performances, like the videos of like her live performances, it's hard to watch because she
Yeah.
seems so uncomfortable.
Yeah.
I saw a video and she's literally standing there with her arms crossed like this, singing in the video. It was bad. So sis really has like serious issues, and so for the label to invest, um, not only in her art but like in her mental health,
Yeah.
I thought was pretty amazing. And again, like the team over there behind the scenes, um, they haven't dropped the ball yet.
Yeah, I think it's amazing. And it also continues to elevate the conversation around mental health and actually Black people,
Yeah.
taking a step and addressing it. Back in
Yeah.
the day, you definitely didn't hear, these big artists that we looked up to at the time, like Puff or Lil' Kim or Faith or all those,
Mhm.
90s artists talking about mental health. So I think it's a game changer if this becomes a bigger conversation among other artists and with other labels and things like that to continue that conversation like, hey, this is something we want to pay attention to and broaden the scope of it. So I think it's a
Yeah.
good first
And
move. And
I also
also,
think it's important because um, nowadays the way that artists are developed is very different from what it used to be. So like before, you were kind of like you were kind of primed to be a star, and now it's like you just become like an overnight star. In some cases, like you have to make it on your own regard, and then we'll kind of latch on. And so that
right, right,
artist, that A&R piece, that artist development piece is missing. But with that comes a lot of mental preparation for like what your life is going to look like moving
right.
forward. So I think now more than ever, it's needed.
Yeah, I'm so excited about that. I'm a fan of it. Go
Yep.
LBRN.
Yeah. Next item on the agenda, we have Pierre Moss announcing that they're going to do a drive-in New York Fashion Week event. Obviously, because of
Right.
the social distancing and COVID situation, and I've been seeing a lot of brands or a lot of IRL experiences that have shifted to drive-ins. I think we talked about it on like the last one, that
Mhm.
that rave like out in Germany, and it was like a drive-in rave. So not surprised here. Obviously don't know how that's going to work. Also, like I was thinking about living here in New York. I know you living in Jersey don't really have to deal with this, but living in New York, I don't need a car, right? Or
Right.
so I thought. Um, this whole
Oh,
experience is kind of like
can you Uber
kind of
in?
got right, but you're gonna sit in the back of somebody's car. Imagine what your Uber rating and what the rate would be.
All
That'd
right.
be crazy. But if a lot of these brands are switching to this model,
Yeah.
people are going to be left out, and I don't know how that works in a metropolitan city like New York, where you don't need a car and
Yeah.
a lot of people don't have one.
So I know they're like planning to do this. I wonder how the logistics are going to pan out. So is New York Fashion Week actually still going to take place as a whole entire event? Because if you have one or two brands that are pivoting and doing a drive-in event, does it make sense to still host this huge
Right, but
activation in a city?
But was Pierre Moss like ever really a part of that like whole big thing? He always did something at like King's Theater in Brooklyn, and
Yeah.
it never. I mean, he might have been on the official schedule. I don't know for sure, but either way, when I thought about a Pierre Moss show, I never thought about like the broader institution of New York Fashion Week
Right. Right. Right.
as
Right.
well. So I think that he can still execute without it. I think he did one over here in Crown Heights and at the Weeksville Center the year
Oh,
before
okay.
he did King's Theater. So
Got you.
he's always kind of like, you know, bucking convention when it as it relates to the fashion industry. So I think whether there is an official New York Fashion Week or not, he was going to do something.
Yeah. Yeah. I think for a brand like Pierre Moss that it'll work either way.
Hmm.
So we'll see.
Yeah. And then the last item on the agenda was something I came across today. It was announced that Solange's kind of creative agency called Saint Heron
Mhm.
is teaming up with Parsons for an immersive festival. So I read through, it was super vague as to what that meant. I went to the website that they launched. There's nothing really on there but some like weird 3D renderings. Um, and it's just some weird Solange shit. I
You
love it.
know, I never can figure out what Solange is doing until she does it. And even then, I'm
And
sitting
even when
back
she does
and
it.
trying to figure it all out. So I kind of leave it to be with the powers that be when Solange is involved. I know she's incredibly creative, and I just lean in and try to be inspired as much as I can. But
Yeah,
to your point and everything you just said on the topic before, this is the new world that we're in, at least for the next 6 months to a year or beyond. Um,
right.
so I think, hey, isn't it supposed to be like with New York Fashion Institute?
Yeah, with Parsons.
And is it partnering with like their graduating class?
Yeah, it's their graduating class of 2020. So I guess I know that like a lot of these schools they have like their like senior presentations and things like that. So I'm assuming that there was a showcase that did not take place, and this is kind of to take the place of that.
Right.
If I were there, I think it'd be a pretty fair, trade
Yeah.
off.
Yeah.
Um, And then you have one of the creatives that works with Solange. His name is Jacoby Satterwhite, I believe.
Hmm.
He is working with the 300 students as well to create this like 3D immersive piece.
Oh,
So
dope. That's
that'll be
cool.
cool. But he's also like, someone who puts together weird art. So, it's just weird all around.
Right.
But I'm here for it. I'm here for it. But this reminded me of something though.
What?
Do you remember a couple years ago, maybe a year ago, maybe even a little bit more, when they announced that Solange was going to be partnering with IKEA?
I do remember that.
What happened to that?
I don't know because you
I'm
hear
like,
these
yo, that's a
things.
missed opportunity. No tables, no seats at said table. I mean,
Yeah. What did happen to that? Yeah, you're head on nail on the head. So it was like June they announced it last year. They were
yeah.
working on a collab with IKEA.
And then
Yep.
there was nothing else.
Nothing else. Literally nothing else.
Okay. I would say I'm saving my coin, but I am not.
Nope. I think, the way they navigate through their spaces, she and Beyonce, when they pull the plug on something, they pull it and they don't say a word. It's it.
That's
That's it.
true.
So,
That's
hey,
very true.
who knows? Oh, it says the collection doesn't drop until 2021. So maybe you should save your
Oh,
coins. And that's on an article that was put out in 2019.
I mean, I still feel like she missed the boat with the seat at the table.
Oh,
She really
right.
did.
That was that was right.
She missed it.
The table and the seat.
Exactly.
All right. So let's move on to guess that spokesperson. What we have been deeming as game time. Guess that
Game time.
spokesperson. Am I up or you up?
You're up. Oh, I thought you meant in the score. I was about to say now Bronson. You know damn well you are not up.
Oh, you make me
No,
sick.
it is your turn. It is your turn. Last week you got me. Or for the Grace Jones Canada Dry one.
Yes.
So
Got
it
it.
is your turn to stump me.
All right, cool. So guess that spokesperson basically give you 3 clues about the brand and 3 clues about the spokesperson. And then you can ask me 3 yes or no questions. And you have to guess the brand and the spokesperson. So, Janelle,
All
are you
right.
ready?
I am ready.
Who would you
Stay
like me
ready.
to go with first, the brand or the spokesperson?
Dealer's choice.
All right. So, this is okay, let's go with the brand first. Third largest sportswear brand in the world. Was founded in 1948, and Gucci took them over as a parent company. Well, Gucci is the parent company They acquired them in 2007. Cool. Got it?
Okay. Sportswear brand? You said third largest sportswear brand?
Yes.
Okay.
And the spokesperson, Madonna is her biggest influencer. She once insured her legs. She never formally graduated high school. And her rider, I'm going to give you a bonus one. Her rider specifically has temperature requirements for the room she'll be in.
Okay. First yes or no question. Is the spokesperson from a Caribbean island?
Yes.
Okay, so Rihanna.
Yes.
Puma.
Oh my God. Why was that so easy? Why was it so easy?
Because I bought those shoes. And I was like, wait, what sportswear brand did Rihanna partner with? I bought the shoe. The Puma, the Creepers.
But I didn't say that it was a. Well, how'd you know?
What other
Okay.
sportswear brand has she partnered with?
Right, you're right. If you guess Rihanna, obviously you can guess the sportswear brand. How'd you guess Rihanna?
The Madonna piece and the temperature control. I was like, okay, so who is anywhere remotely similar to content similar to Madonna, and who is big enough that your rider can have temperature controls?
Okay.
Who's the only person that checked both of those boxes?
Well. There you go.
Strategy.
Anyway.
So I think the score is 7-4. I'm not keeping count, but I'm keeping count.
7-4. Janelle's up for 3 more weeks till we're tied.
So I think it's time to move into our last segment, which is the That Ain't It or Going With Your Black Ads segment, where we call out a brand who's killing it, or brands that are killing it, or a brand that isn't. Yeah. So, would you like to go first?
Yes, I'm going to go with Going With Your Black Ads, and I'm going to give that to LBRN. Just because I think that's super innovative in kind of like putting your foot first in the game as far as being a label and extending yourself to have a mental health division. That's literally the investment you make into your artists. That's not necessarily on paper. Like, I think that's a game changer and really shows another level of commitment. So I really appreciate that.
All right. So I think I'm going to have to piggyback off of yours. What they're doing over there at Love Renaissance. Like I said, I've been a fan of their marketing efforts for quite some time. And this is just, another thing to add to the list. But I do have That Ain't It.
Okay. What is it?
Yeah, so I'm gonna have to give that to your boys, Joyner Lucas and Will Smith. I'm joking. It was a joke.
I was about to say, you cannot do that. Absolutely not. And next week, I'm going to ask you if you listen to it, and I really want to know your thoughts. Like, seriously, don't go into it with like, oh, he said it was all this, because I hate sicing stuff up, and it don't be living up to expectations. I just thought it was cool. I thought it was cool to hear from Will Smith in that way. I thought it was cool to break up the monotony of the music that we've been hearing. So, also, watch the video. That's it. That's all I'm going to say on that.
Okay, maybe.
Oh, you drive me crazy.
I'll watch it.
We'll see. Y'all heard it here first.
I have homework. Oh, shit. So, yeah, that wraps up episode 11 and our first IGTV episode of Witcha Black Ads. We'll still be posting the audio on streaming services, so you can always check us out there as well.
Follow us on Instagram.
Follow us
at Witcha Black Ads.
That's WITCHA. In case I know there's a couple of variations of how you spell Witcha out there.
Yep. Subscribe and check us out. We'll be back next week with more or 2 weeks from now again on IGTV with more content. So holla at us. See ya.